Hey, customer desk. Hey everyone, welcome to 2021 and welcome back to another video on my thoughts nobody asked for on movies and stuff. Today's video is on the sequel to what most people would say is the DC Cinematic Universe's only good live-action film, Wonder Woman 1984. I loved the first film. Wonder Woman is a really complex character, not just narratively, but emotionally too. And she's gone through many transformations, from being a dark hero who brought down the swift hand of justice, to a more pacifist hero who only resorted to violence if nothing else worked. She's been a warmonger, a paragon of virtue, and in the Future State comics, she's Brazilian, and that breaks my face in half. But it's because of all of this complexity that Wonder Woman is do right on the screen. Is she bulletproof? Can she fly? Is there a point to her invisible jet? Is it still canon that her only weakness is if her hands are tied together by a man? Don't worry about it, that's no longer canon after the several comic book reboots DC has gone through. So choosing an accurate depiction of her can be very difficult, and turning it into a cinematic franchise can make it even more difficult. Which is why I'm so happy they left a character so important, a character such as Wonder Woman, in the hands of Patty Jenkins and Gal Gadot. But before we get into any of that, why don't you go ahead and hit that big red button? Yeah, that's right, subscribe. Over 60% of you are not subscribed, and I find that a little weird. I mean, it's YouTube. Liking and subscribing is just, it's what we do. Everyone knows that. I mean, it's YouTube etiquette, or were you raised by savages? That's like not saying if you liked something on Netflix or not. I mean, those thumbs aren't there for show, you know? What do you mean nobody likes things on Netflix? Wait, you're telling me I'm the only one who's thumbing things up on... Well then why the hell do... Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel and it boosts my self-esteem. All done? Great. On with the show. Dude. What's up? This weather is ridiculous. Yeah, this heat is crazy. And the mosquitoes are as sharp as ever. They hunt like ninjas. I'm dying for a swim. I'm dying for a vacation. A vacation would be nice. Yeah, and then we could swim on the beach. But probably not because of, COVID. Shh, just let me dream. We could just swim in the pool. There's no girls at our pool. I want to see bikinis. Really? It's bikini weather! Who would have thought that you'd have the motives of a supporting anime character? The different colors, the different types. It's a wonderland in summer. A summerland. Are you talking about the bikinis or the women? The way they lift their arms when they want to tie their hair because they can't afford to let it get wet. The way they laugh jovially as they splash each other with water. I think we're losing him. Maybe one will walk up to me and ask if, I can apply sunscreen on her back. And of course... What? Tons and tons of oppai! Plenty of oppai! Just everywhere. So much that it's all I can see. You're practically a meme. I am not. I ain't got no type, no sir. Don't like them big, don't like them small. I like all types. All types are my type. I take them all. Yeah, I'm a real stand-up guy. No more late night anime for you. You've never been like this before. Well, you see, my old friend. I've come across the question. What question? I recently saw girls swimming in a Wonder Woman bikini. And I had to know, do they float? What? Speaking of, have you seen Wonder Woman 1984 yet? I have, and let me tell you, was kind of awkward.
What about it felt awkward?
What am I meant to do at the end of a DC movie? Is there an after credits? Do I sit and watch? I don't know what to do. It's been so long.
Well, not all the way to the end, but there was a mid-credit scene with Linda Carter.
Well, I guess I missed it.
I think it was a very interesting departure from the first film. You know, there were just so many emotional moments. I couldn't help but applaud every single performance in the film.
That was actually my problem with this. Where the hell are the fight scenes?
There were enough.
No ways, dude. Last time we saw people shooting at her in the middle of a war with a machine gun. We didn't even get to see a shield this time.
But I mean, that would have been overkill.
She didn't feel that way the first time.
She was a different person the first time.
I think I would have liked to see more of what happened in Egypt.
I'm actually surprised you liked that part. That fight scene was a little dicey for me, you know? The special effects got a little choppy whenever Diana started running. And those kids that she picked up on the road, for sure, 100% for sure they're dead. The moment she let go of that lasso, they died. They just tumbled and died.
What do you mean? She had them in her arms. She absorbed most of the force.
Please, we both know that those kids should be pavement puddles the way they hit the ground so hard.
Okay, true. But it was still a sick fight scene.
What about Maxwell Lord and Barbara Minerva?
Oh, they were so good. Kristen Wiig did really well in an action role.
And Pedro Pascal delivered a magnificent performance.
He was on fire. Oh my god. Gotta be honest, I'm not sure if I'm jealous of Kristen Wiig for kissing Pedro Pascal or if I'm jealous of Pedro Pascal for kissing Kristen Wiig.
Completely understandable.
But what was going on with Max Lord and the broadcaster, the hijacker thingy? Does that even make sense?
I don't think so. But it definitely looked cool.
Oh, it looked really cool.
And he was just a normal guy. You know, Diana couldn't just punch him into submission. Especially because he became the wishing stone thingy.
It's because Diana kept trying to use talk no jutsu that there's so little fight scenes. But I guess that makes sense to the villain like Max Lord. Yeah, in fact, now that I sit and I think about it, yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it some more, if Maxwell Lord had become the wishing stone, why didn't Steve Trevor just wish for everything to go back to normal when he had it in the White House?
I thought that too. He just held the guy.
In fact, there's a lot of things surrounding Steve Trevor that just don't seem to make sense. Why is he in another person's body? What happens to the other guy while Steve is in him?
I have no clue. If the magic can make things appear like walls and cows, then why not dead people?
Zombie Steve Trevor, that would have been interesting.
Though I was glad they had him in the film.
Yeah, Gal and Chris Pine have excellent chemistry. I don't know what I'm jealous of more. Gal Gadot kissing Chris Pine or Chris Pine kissing Gal Gadot.
And it was just so crucial to her arc that he becomes something she has to sacrifice.
And I get that. I do. I really, really do. And I don't want to change that. I wouldn't change that for the world. But why does that have to include an innocent bystander who's probably in the sunken place?
Beats me.
Also, why are the planes at the museum fueled and ready for takeoff?
They had to explain her invisible jet somehow. And what about that really cute scene?
No ways, man. No ways. I refuse to believe. No matter what, you can't just fly through fireworks. I refuse to believe it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely some sort of fire hazard or something.
And speaking of hazards...
I already know what you're going to say. And I agree. Cheetah made no sense.
Barbara became Cheetah in the dumbest way possible.
It's a complete 180. One scene she's normal, the next scene she's a jellicle cat. The real question is whether they edited her butthole in or not.
And then they had that flying trapeze fight in the dark that I can only describe as an insult to the Flying Graysons. And that's really saying something because they're in the same universe.
I also didn't get the point of the golden armor. What's the point of all this hype if there's no payoff? I understand that it's meant to be a comment on her character and how she fights, but what's the point of having this fancy golden armor if it's just going to be torn off you piece by piece?
Major fashion faux pas.
but it was worth it. I'd go through all of it again. Wonder Woman is just so powerful, and you know, she sacrifices so much, and she just wanted to be happy. Yeah, you know, and she's really earned it. The entire movie is just a tiny glimpse into not only what it means to be Wonder Woman, but how it feels to be Wonder Woman. And for that reason, I could watch it over and over and over again. That's true. It might not make sense all the time, and Cheetah might be completely wasted, but it did make me feel something. But I don't know. What do you guys think? Was Wonder Woman 1984 an emotional journey, or should Warner Bros. Have lasted it out of theaters before we could have seen it? I was definitely moved by the movie. I was fortunate enough to watch it in IMAX in a socially distanced theater, and Patty Jenkins just played on all of my heartstrings with reckless abandon. Pedro Pascal stole the show. I mean, he killed it. And Kristen Wiig was on fire. I loved seeing her in a role like this. If you couldn't tell, I'm a bit of a fan. And it's really surprising that I can say how much I enjoyed this film when I know how so much of it actually fell really short for me. Like the bad special effects that made Diana's running look like she was in some sort of Looney Tunes cartoon. And another thing that really got to me was the flying. Listen, if you're going to make Wonder Woman fly, make Wonder Woman fly. Zack Snyder took every liberty available to him, making Superman levitate off the ground horizontally, yet you have to make Diana lasso the sky? I mean, I just feel like lassoing lightning and flying are two very different abilities that should be used in very differing capacities in very different situations. Her lasso also does a lot of questionable things. It just coils on her waist, like, I mean, for no reason. Like, no crank, no motor, nothing. It just... But honestly, I can actually live with that. Patty also does this thing where there's a lot of talking or just some sort of discussion or moment that's happening in a time-sensitive situation, and that really knocks the pacing off for me because I don't understand if what we're going through is urgent anymore, because if we're on a timer but we have time to stop and watch Steve Trevor explode or to have a conversation with Cheetah after kicking her ass in a Flying Grayson's trapeze fight, it's just like, I don't understand. I mean, I thought this was really important. I feel like she'd finish and then go handle the problem. It just ruins the timing for me. There was also this moment in Wonder Woman 1984 where there's this guy who was heckling Barbara. And listen, he was terrible. I also really wanted to beat up that catcalling heckler. But when Barbara started to take Diana's powers and they started to really come to fruition and she started beating this guy up, started to kind of feel bad for him. And then it's like, am I supposed to though? Like, is she really crossing a line? Am I supposed to feel bad for this guy who's been harassing this woman and now she's like kicking his ass? Why is this movie trying to make me feel weird about not liking him? It's like, this is a comic book movie. It's really making me think. Did not expect that. And I think the most pertinent thing to bother me was the nukes. Nuclear missiles appear out of nowhere. The world practically collapses upon itself because of all of these wishes that are being granted. Yet this doesn't go down in history as the most bizarre day ever? I mean, maybe that's just me, but I feel like that's far more absurd than flying Abercrombie and alien invasions. There's no mention of this day outside of this movie is just some lack of foresight, lack of some serious planning, I guess. Yet despite all of this, despite all the things that I can find wrong with this sequel, it stole my heart. I love how every Wonder Woman movie so far has kind of just matched her overall vibe. I mean, I might be the only one seeing this, but I love how the first movie had a more realistic, darker tone because the Wonder Woman we saw in that movie was
a lot more intense. And in the second movie, things are, you know, a lot more laid back. They're a lot more sure of themselves, and it's, you know, it's more lighthearted and it's funny. You know, we're throwing little girls into teddy bears and winking to people as we save the day. It's so much more fun because she knows who she is now and she knows what she can do, and it's just, it feels like her. It's amazing. And the character arc that Maxwell Lord goes through is so emotional that I was tearing up in the cinema. It was so sweet, and so true. I think I'm gonna cry again. You know what? There's plenty wrong with this film, but the things it did right are so much bigger that I don't even care. There, I said it. Bloody brilliant, mate. But that's all from me, guys. I've said a lot already. If you liked this video, give it a big thumbs up. If you absolutely hated this video, give it an even bigger thumbs up. Let me know what you'd like me to do, my thoughts on next. Don't be shy. Light me up in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. Keep your eyes open, people. We've got a lot more content coming for you this year. Maybe even next week. Hit that bell so that you're notified about every upload. We're coming at you hot. Got a lot of interesting things coming soon. We've also launched our Patreon again. But honestly, I'll tell you all about that in a different video. For now, take care.